So hi all, welcome to this another lab session. So in this lab session we will see how to create advanced DAX calculation in Power BI desktop. In our previous lab session we did only with DAX calculation in Power BI desktop, and this is with some more advanced DAX calculation. So it is an extension of the previous lab session only. Okay. So in this lab we will create measures with DAX expression involving filter manipulation. So we will learn how to use calculate function to manipulate filter context and how to use time intelligence function. Okay. So for time saving purposes, we have already downloaded the 05 starter sales analysis file. Okay. So let us see. So here it is saying in this task you will create a matrix visual to support testing your new measures. In Power BI desktop report view, create a new report page. Okay. So let us go ahead and create a new report page. And it is saying on page 3 add a matrix visual. So let's add a matrix visual. And okay, for better resizing, let us go to this format. Before going to format, it is telling us to configure the matrix visual fields from data pane, drag the region/region hierarchy, okay, and drop it inside the visual. Okay, so this will be in the rows, and add also the sales/sales field to the values as well. Okay, so let us go ahead and let us add the sales to the values. Okay, so it is done, and now let us resize our visual. So let us give the values as 20, and let us give the column headers as 20. This I am doing for better visibility, and this. Okay, so now if I go ahead and expand this, now it is much better. Okay, to expand the entire hierarchy, at the top right of the matrix visual, select the fork double arrow icon. Okay, so let us go ahead and let us press Control and let's this. Now it is telling us to format the visual in the visualization pane. Select the format pane. Okay, and in the search box enter layout. Okay, so let us enter layout, and in the compact. Okay, now here we have this layout as tabular, so let us go ahead and let us make this as tabular. Okay. So now what has happened is that earlier within the group, right, in the same column there was France, Germany and United Kingdom, but now it has separated the entire hierarchy into a next column. Okay, so that's why it is tabular. Okay, and now let us go ahead. The table looks like this, which is absolutely fine. Okay, now let us, you will create several measures in this exercise and then test them by adding them into the matrix visual. So in this task you will create several measures with DAX expression that use the calculate function to manipulate filter context. The calculate function is a powerful function used to manipulate the filter context. Okay, so the first argument takes an expression or a measure. Okay, so regarding calculate function, I have made a separate video on calculate function. Okay, so you can go ahead and you can watch that video. Okay, the link is actually at the top. Okay, so in this we need to add a measure to the sales table. Okay, so let us go ahead and add a measure. So new measure, and in this new measure let us copy this entirely. Okay, let us click on copy and let us paste on. So you will see that it has created this sales, your sales measure, and in this measure if you look at the formula, it is saying that calculate the sum of sales and remove filters from region. So what does remove filters does? Okay, remove filters, it actually removes the entire filter context from the region. Okay, so whatever filter that you have at the visual level, right, it will remove everything from the region, and it will it will not apply any filter from on the region basis. Okay, that is what remove filters mean. So I have also made a separate video on remove filters as well. You can watch that as well. Okay, so let us go ahead and click on OK. And here it is saying the remove filters function removes active filters. It can take either no argument or a table or a column or multiple columns. Okay, so add the sales all region measure to the matrix visual. Okay, so let us go ahead and drop it here. And if you just see that since we have removed the entire filter from the region, it will give you the same value, that is this total value it will give for all the rows. Okay, so that is what remove filter does. And that is what is said here, that notice that the sales or region measure computes the total of all the region sales for each country and group. And the new measure is yet to deliver a useful result. When the sales of a group, country or region is divided by this value, it will produce a useful ratio known as the percent of the grand total. Okay, so in the data pane, ensure that the sales all region measure is selected. Okay, and it will have a dark gray background, and then in the formula bar replace the measure name and formula with the following formula. Okay, so it is saying in the data pane, ensure the sales all region. Okay, so in this sales all region, it is saying then select the inside formula bar and press Ctrl plus A to select all the text, and press Ctrl plus V to paste the snippet. Okay, so we need to replace this, so let us copy this one, sales all region. Okay, this one, and let us replace it. Okay, now that we have replaced it, you see that this value has changed. Okay, and if we just go down, it is saying that the measure has been renamed to accurately reflect the updated formula. A divide function divides the sales measure by the sales measure in a modified context, which removes any filters applied to the region table. Okay, so simply what it has done, whatever earlier method that we had, right, that calculates sum of sales based on remove filters, this is the actual earlier measure. Okay, and this is the sales percentage all region is equals to dividing the sum of sales by the total sales. That's it, where filter is not applied in the region. That's it. So it has calculated the sales percentage of all regions measure as a percentage with 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's click on this one and format over here. Let us make this as percentage. Okay, and up to 2 decimal place it is already there. Okay, so that's it. And add another measure to the sales table based on the following expression, sales percentage country. So this is on the basis of country level. Okay, so if you just go ahead and if you check, then the remove filter is not just only on the region, entire region, but it's on the region column of the regions. Okay, so this is the difference here. So now what we will do, we will create one more measure, new measure, and we will copy this and we will paste it. See, whenever you will be doing these lab sessions, right, do not simply just copy it and paste it. I am doing it because I have an idea about these things, but you need to properly understand these functions. Okay, so regarding calculate, regarding remove filters. Okay, so it is talking about removing the filters from the region column. So you must understand that in the previous case it was removing the filter from the entire region table, but here it is only removing from the region column. Okay, so now if I go ahead and if I hit on commit, it will create that measure. I click on cross, and now we will notice that the sales percentage measure formula differs slightly from sales percentage all measure formula. So let's go ahead and let's drag and drop it here, and you will just see that it is here. Okay, yeah, and here the sales percentage. So what we will do, we will similarly we will select this one and we will change this to percentage. Okay, now it is changed to percentage here. Okay, so now the difference is that notice that the sales percentage country measure formula slightly differs from the sales percentage all region measure formula. The difference is that the denominator modifies the filter context by removing the filters on the region column of the region table, not all columns of the region table. Okay, it means that any filters applied to the group or country columns are preserved. It will achieve a result that represents the sales as a percentage of country. Add the sales country measure to the matrix visual. We have already done that. Notice that only the United States region produce a value that isn't 100%, this one. Okay, and the reason why it is because within the United States, right, if you look at the region, other countries they only have their own country as the region, but in case of United States they have central, northeast, northwest, southeast, so they are divided into several regions. So based on this particular region, right, they have been divided. Okay, so that's it for this one. To improve the readability of the measure in the visual, override the sales percentage country measure with this improved formula, that is, if is in scope, region of region, divide sum of sales and then calculate the sales based on region filter. Okay, so let us go ahead and copy this, and with this one we will just replace it. Let's go ahead and open the sales percentage country. Table tools format. Control V, and now let's go ahead. Now if I go ahead and drop it here, yes, now if you just see what has happened, that this particular value has been removed. Okay, now what is in scope, what this function does is it checks whether the region is in the hierarchy or not. If it is not in the hierarchy, it will simply give this value as blank, but if it is within the hierarchy, then it will only display value for the values which are within the hierarchy. So if you just see country France is within the hierarchy, so it has given me 100%, but this total value over here underneath, it is not in the hierarchy, right? That's why it has shown you blank. Similarly, for all the fields where total is present, it will show you blank. Okay, so this is to improve the visibility. Okay, this is if function uses the in scope function to test whether the region column is in the hierarchy of levels or not. When true, the divide function is evaluated. When false, a blank value is returned because the region column isn't in scope. Okay, so notice that the sales percentage country measure now only returns a value when a region is in scope. Another measure to the sales table based on the following expression and format as a percentage. So this is on the basis of group, sales percentage group. So let us copy this. Okay, and let's create one more measure. And in this particular measure, right, you will notice that we have two filters from which we are removing. There are two columns from which we are removing the filters, right? One is the region, one is the country. Okay, so let us go ahead and hit on commit. It will add this particular measure. Okay, it has added, and let us add this measure to this table. To achieve the sales as a percentage of the two groups, the two filters can be applied effectively to remove the filters on the two columns. Add the percentage group measure to the matrix visual to improve the readability. Override the sales percentage group measure with this improved formula. Okay, so again the same concept for is in scope. Okay, now what will happen, that wherever the value for the total, okay, is there, similarly it will not display that particular value. Okay, so here if you can just see this particular 0.441, the values which are showing here in bold, right, all those values will be removed. Okay, so I will simply go ahead and click on this sales percentage group, and I will go ahead and I will replace this. Let's click on commit. Okay, so this has worked. And now if you just see this particular total from the country region, okay, this has been removed. Okay, this has been removed. So let me update this one as percentage, format this one to percentage up to 2 decimal places. Okay, and let us go down. Notice that the sales percentage group measure now only returns a value when a region or a country is in scope. Okay, in the model view, place the 3 new measures to display place the 3 new measures into the display folder named ratios. Okay, so let us go to the model view. Okay, and within the model view, in this particular sales, let us go ahead and let us select these 3 call measures. Okay, and the display folder should be ratios. Okay, so this is done, and it is now saying to save the Power BI desktop file. So let us go to the report view, let us go to file, and let's save this. Okay, so this file has been saved. Now what we have to do, we need to create a YTD measure. Okay, year to date measure. So this is for time, this is actually a time intelligence DAX query. Sales YTD equals to total YTD. Okay, so the total YTD function, what it does, it evaluates the expression, in this case the sum of the sales column over a given date column. The date column must belong to a date table marked as a date table. Okay, and the function can also take a third optional argument representing the last date of a year. The absence of this date means that December 31st is the last date of this year. For adventure work, June is the last month of their year, and so 6/30 is used. So in the last lab, if you remember, we used the calculate auto function, calendar auto function, in which we mentioned 6. So because June is the last month of their year, that's why we mentioned 6. Otherwise by default they take it as 12. So with that on reference only they are talking about. So let's go ahead and let us copy this one. Okay, it is saying to go to page 2. So let us go to page 2. Okay, and let us add a measure to the sales table. Okay, so let us go ahead, let us copy this. Let us go ahead, let us add a new measure, and let us is this. Now we should add the sales field to the and the sales YTD measure to the matrix visual. Okay, so let us go ahead and let us do that. So wait, what is the matrix visual that displays various measures with years and months grouped on rows? Add a measure to the sales table with 0 decimal places. Okay, this part we missed. So let us go to this one, and this should be decimal, and this should have 0 decimal places. Okay, and add this one to the matrix. So let us go ahead and add this one. This one is added, and the sales YTD and the sales as well. Okay, and the sales has also been added, the sum of sales. Okay, so now what is happening is that the total YTD function performs filter manipulation, specifically time filter manipulation. So it has also given an example to compute the YTD sales for September 2017. Okay, all filters on the date table are removed and replaced with a new filter of dates commencing at the beginning of the year, that is July 1st 2017, and extending through to the last date of the in context date period, that is September 30 2017. Okay, so over here if I go down, we will create a YOY growth measure. Okay, year to year growth measure, and in this you will create a YOY growth measure by using this variable. So variables help you simplify the formula and are more efficient if using the logic multiple times within the formula. So whenever we use a variable, we do not need to use something over and over again. So let's say, for example, if you are using calculate sum of some table, some columns, right, we always use the calculate function, we always use some filter related with it. So instead of calling the calculate function over and over again, we store it inside a variable, and then we use the return function to return that value. In that way, this is also very helpful in query optimization as well, because during query optimization we prefer to use for variables, okay, because once we use variables, that calculate function will only be executed once, and then that variable will be used to other places instead of calling the calculate function separately at different places. So that can increase the execution time. So in that case, variables can really help us not only just simplify but making it more efficient as well. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to add one more measure to the sales table. Okay, so let us go ahead and create one. Okay, and here let us copy and let us paste this. So here what is happening is we are creating this sales prior year, which is a variable, okay, and what we are doing, we are calculating the sum of the sales parallel period, that is date of date minus 12 and then month. Okay, so and it is returning the sales of prior to this year. That means this particular variable which is mentioned, it is returned here. Okay, so what does this parallel period does? Okay, it just shifts 12 months back from the date. Okay, this particular shifts 12 months back from each date in the current context, okay, in the filter context. So for example, it is, if it is 2017 July, right, 12 months back, that means 1 year back, 2016th of June, like that. Okay, so it will shift everything 1 year back. Okay, so it kind of creates an offset, okay, just slides it by 12 months back, that's it. Okay, and it calculates the sum of the sales. Okay, so this is this is a time intelligence function. Okay, so let's click on commit, and after this let us add this to the matrix visual as well. So we should notice that the first 12 months is blank. Okay, and the reason why the first 12 months is blank, because there is no data for these first 12 months. Okay, so no sales recorded before the fiscal year 2017. And if you just look at this one, right, for year 2018, that is fiscal year 2019, right, that is 2018 June, 2018 August, right. So if you look at for this, then for 2018, that means it will be for parallel period, it will be 2017, right, but for 2017 we have these data, so that's why we can have these values. Okay, so for this we should notice that the sales YOY growth measure for 2018 July is the sales value for 2017 July. Okay, and that is what is mentioned. Now that the difficult part of the formula has been tested, you can override the measure with the final formula that computes the growth result. Okay, so we should go ahead and override this particular formula with this one. Okay, so let us go ahead, let us go to the sales YOY and let us replace it with this one. Okay, so what is happening here, we are dividing the sales with the sales prior year and then dividing it with the sales prior year. Okay, so this is going to give us the percentage of the sales YOR. Okay, and after this, if we can go ahead, this one should be percentage. So let us go ahead and let us select this as percentage. Okay, So for this one, it is saying that verify that the YOY growth for 2018 July is 392.83%, which is correct. It is 392.83, and the YOY growth measure identifies almost 400% increase of sales during the same period for the previous year. Okay, so in model view, place the two new measures into the display folder named time intelligence. Okay, so that is sales YOY growth and sales YTD, these two. So let us go to the model view. Okay, and let us select this and this, and let us put them into the same folder, time intelligence. And now they are under this particular folder. And that's it. That concludes the end of this lab. This was a pretty short lab because this is just an extension of the previous lab. Previous lab was significantly longer. Okay. So I hope that you really have enjoyed this particular lab session. Okay, and after you finish off with all the labs, okay, you will be you will get a very good grasp in Power BI overall. Okay, so thank you for watching this video, and just like always, if you really like this video, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to press the bell icon for notification. Thank you.